This is Marc T, and I want to welcome you to Kickstart Your Life. This is the Kickstart Your Life broadcast. Listen, I'm excited about what we're doing. Last broadcast, we talked about the power of choice. And the power of choice is taken from what I call the 21 power steps to a better me. 21 power steps to a better me. And just to give you a little bit of background to kind of bring you up to speed of where we are, is this. A few months ago, I had a birthday. A time of reflection, a time to examine, a time to look at things, goals, achievements, evaluate your life, things of that nature. And I got the idea for Kickstart Your Life then. And as I prayed about it, thought about it, meditated on it, I came up with 21 power steps. 21 power steps to a better me. The power of choice was the first step. And in the power of choice, we talked about, and we came to this conclusion that you and I, we are what we are. We are in the position in life that we are in because of the choices that we have made. So whether they are positive choices or whether they're negative choices, we are where we are because of the choices. And so in the power of choice, what I wanted to bring to your attention is that if you make the right choices, that in making the right choices, not making quick decisions, meditate on what it is that you want to do. If you choose to make a difference, if you choose to do things differently, you have the power to do that because that power lies within you. And so that was in our episode on the power of choice. Now today I want to go to power step number 2 and elaborate on that. And power step number 2 is the power of change. Power step number 2 is the power of change. Now let's go back and let's define. Power is the ability to do or to act, the capability of doing or accomplishing. And so that said, it means that you have the power to change. Whatever it is that you don't like in your life right now, you have the power to change it. Playing back a little bit on the power of choice. Maybe you made a wrong choice, but now you have the power to change it. If you want something different, then there may be some changes that have to be made. You have the power to change. Let me say it this way. You have the ability even to reinvent yourself. You have the ability even to reinvent yourself. Maybe you need to reinvent yourself. I don't know if it's a career. I don't know if it's a bad relationship, experience. I don't know if it's job. I don't know if it's training. I don't know if it's school. I don't know if it's ministry. I don't know if it's starting a business. I don't know if it's whether to stay in the business that you're in. But within you, you have the power to change. Whatever it is that you do not like or that you are not satisfied with in your life right now, you have the power to change. Now, the question arises is this. Do you have the courage to change? The power of change rests with you. But do you have the courage to change? Do you have the courage to make the changes that are necessary? That may change your environment, that may change your lifestyle, that may change your relationship, that may change your business. Do you have the courage to make that change? And so let's look at that. Do you have the courage to make the change. It takes courage to change. People resist change. We resist change. Change requires us, it's real simple. Change requires us to change. And we don't want to change. We want to remain the same. We like stuff the way we are, way it is. We like ourselves the way that we are. We like the routine that we have. But there are some things that we need to change. Not too long ago, I put up a post and said that there's no substitute for hard work. If you're going to change and make a change, you're going to have to work at making the change. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in another broadcast. But you have to commit to what it is that you want to change. All right? So here are a couple of things I want to throw out at you. When we're talking about the power of change, one of my points is this. Change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. Sometimes wrong thinking will produce the wrong outcome. So we need to change our thoughts. Let's not think defeated. Let's not think like an underdog. But let's think like a winner. Let's think like a victor. Another thing to change, there may be some habits that you need to change. There may be some habits you need to change. And so the time is now to change those habits. Or the time is now to break those habits. Don't wait. Break them. I believe that it was Donald Trump that said he only sleeps about 3 to 4 hours a night. You can't love sleep and want to change and want to be a success, to live abundant life. You can't love to sleep. In other words, you can't be lazy. So maybe sleeping too long or staying in the bed too late, maybe that's a habit you need to change. The old saying says that the early bird catches the worm. And I know growing up, when I was growing up, my mother didn't allow you to stay in the bed. You didn't lay up in the bed. You didn't walk around all day in pajamas. You got up. If you didn't have anything to do, you better act like you had something to do. But nowadays, folks like to stay in the bed. Young people like to stay in the bed. We need to change habits. We need to break habits. So there may be some habits that are preventing you from making the necessary changes that you need to make in your life. And so you need to break those habits. Okay? Break the cycle. Break the cycle. Sometimes we have bad cycles in our lives. They're repetitive cycles of maybe mistakes or bad decisions, bad choices. We need to break the cycle in our lives. Come to the point and say, look, this is going to stop here. And then we will exert our energy into making the change. Here's another one. You may need to change your friends. Here's another old saying. Birds of a feather flock together. Well, they do this and they do that, but I don't do that. Okay. Well, why do you want to be in a group of people, friends, peers, or whoever they are, and they don't have your best interest at heart, or they may not have the same vision, the same mentality. You want to change. You want to make a difference. You're trying to kickstart your life, but they're trying to hold you back, trying to keep you where they are. So we may need to change our friends. You may need to associate yourself with people with the same goals, the same objectives, people with positive attitudes, with vision, dreams, insight. These are the types of people you need to be hanging around. I've got a saying, and it says, walk with the walkers, not with the talkers. Now, what does that mean? There's a lot of people talking about what they want to do, talking about what could be done, but there are very few people that are going to walk it out. Where'd you get this from? I got this from Scripture. There's a story in the Bible about these lepers that were sitting outside of a city, and they were having a conversation. They knew that they were dying. They all had leprosy. You know, somebody's sitting there, maybe a body part is falling off and this and that, and they're talking, and one of them said, hey, let's go in the city. And somebody said, no, let's go over here. And someone said, well, no, maybe we need to do this. So there's a whole lot of talking going on. And then finally, one of them says, why sit here until we die? There was a whole lot of talking. But somebody got up and said, we need to walk into the city. And when they walked into the city, something miraculous began to happen. So basically what I do, I got that from that story. Walk with the walkers, not with the talkers. There's a lot of people that will talk about doing stuff, but there are few people that will actually walk it out. I remember when I went into the pest control business many years ago, and I thought about how much time I was putting in, how many hours I was giving them, and how much stress it was causing me. And I began to think, I said, well, you know, if I put in this much time for them, what if I did this for myself and put in the same amount of effort? I would be able to generate an income from myself, eliminate the stress from the situation. And I talked to a few people, hey, some co-workers, hey, man, let's do this. Hey, you know what, I got this idea. Let's do. Oh, no, man, I don't want to do that. No, you know. They didn't want to do it. Nobody wanted to take that chance. Nobody wanted to take that risk. So I got away from the talkers, and I started walking this thing out. So walk with the walkers, not with the talkers. All right, let's check this out. Let's see what's next. All right, change your routine. Change your routine. There may be some things that you need to do different. Do things different. They say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting to get a different result. Okay? You're not getting the result that you're looking for right now, and you've been doing the same thing. Now it's time to do something different. Change your routine. Start a routine that changes your patterns. Start a routine that changes your patterns. There are those that say if you do something for 21 days, then now that becomes a new habit. But if you begin to just change your patterns and stay consistent with changing your patterns, you can change your routine. You can develop a new routine. Because maybe the things that you've been doing just not working. So let's make some change. Okay? So we mentioned in that, let me review these real quick. Change your thoughts. Number 1. Number 2, change your habits. Number 3, you may need to change your friends. Number 4, change your routine. Okay? And the objective of all this is to begin to break cycles. To change the cycles in your life. Maybe the cycles have been unsuccessful for you. So we need to break these cycles. All right? Sometimes you can see that there is a pattern at certain seasons, and that's what we call cycles. Certain seasons, the same types of things arise or happen. You don't see any change. You see no new development. So you got to break those cycles. Now, here's something that I want you to do. I want to challenge you to do this. List the things you want to change. List the things that you want to change. So let's make it simple. Let's do about 3. Let's do the top 3 things that you want to change. Okay? So get your list. For example, it could be your job. It could be your career. It could be how much money you're making. It could be whether you're going to go in business or not. All right? So you need to list those things. 1, 2, 3. I mean, you can do 5. You can do more than that. But let's just start you off with 3. Let's make it simple. So for an example, why am I saying this? Why am I asking you to do this? For example, if it's how much money you're making, all right? For an example, you put on your list, and I want to change how much money I make. Now, if you want to change how much money you're making, then you need to acquire the skill that would change the amount of money that you would make. So here we are. Change. There's a change that has to come. So now I have to acquire a skill that's going to cause me to make more money, if that's what I want to change. Remember earlier I said there's no substitute for hard work. Man, it may require some specialized training. It may require some certification. It may require going back to school and getting an additional degree. It may require going to school and getting your first degree. But these are the changes that we have to make if we're saying number 1, 2, 3, whichever one of these you may have written down. I want to make more money. Then you need to acquire the skill that's going to bring in more money. So that means you're going to have to invest some time in some education, into some training. Some things along that line. So this is the avenue that we're taking. List things that you want to change. Now, I have another list for you, all right? Another list. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 here as well. List the things that you should change, but you may not want to change. List the things that you should change, but you may not want to change. All right? So this is getting a little bit tougher. There's some stuff that you know that you need to change, but you may not want to change it. Put it on that list. There's some things that you should change, but you may not want to. Number 2, put that on the list. There's some other things that you made. Maybe somebody mentioned something to you that maybe you ought to change. You might have got offended by what they said. Maybe you need to revisit that thing. Maybe you need to re-examine that. Maybe they could have been right. Maybe you need to put that on the list. Something that I said earlier. Changing your friends. Maybe that needs to be on the list. You might not want to change some of your friends. But maybe they're not going where you're going. So those are things that we have to look at. So let me go back. Let me just review something real quick. All right? And making sure that you're getting this. Take this in. The power of change. Okay? Meaning that you have the power, the ability, lies with you, rests in you, resides in you to change. Maybe somebody has said, hey, this is the way it is. It's always going to be like this and it's not going to change. Maybe someone that says, look, your family has been like this. You're going to be like this. Your children are going to be like this. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You have the ability to make the change. You can stop it in your generation. Well, nobody in our family ever went to college. You can be the first one. Nobody's ever had their own business. You can be the first one. It's all about making the changes that are necessary. You live here. You're always going to live here. All your family live here. You have to make changes. Make the changes necessary to make it happen. All right. So change your thoughts. Number one, renew your mind, renew your thinking. Number two, habits. Now's the time to break the cycle of habits. Number three, friends. Surround yourself by people who have your interests. People that have common visions and goals. There's strength in numbers. You are desiring to do more, and you got folk that are satisfied where they are. You may need to make a change. All right? 4, routine. Change your routine. Do things different. Start a routine that changes the patterns that are currently in your life. Now, as we sum this up, we must make a conscious decision to change. We've got to say, look, I am going to change. You might have to talk yourself into it. You may need to stand in the mirror and look at yourself and say, look, I make the conscious decision to change. I'm going to make the changes that are necessary. That I will have a better future. And that I will live the abundant life. If you want something bad enough, listen to me. If you want something bad enough, you will make the change and you will make the adjustment if you want it bad enough. And so I pose the question to you in conclusion today. How bad do you want it? So this is number 2 in my 21 power steps to a better me. Step number 1 was the power of choice. Step number 2 is the power of change. I want to thank you for listening today. I'm your host, Marc T. May. You've been listening to Kickstart Your Life. You can contact me by email at marc, T period May at gmail.com. Now that's Mark with a C, MARC T period May MAY at gmail.com. Send us your questions, your comments. Put a comment when you listen to us. Put a comment down. Let us know you like the station. Tell somebody else about the broadcast. And until next time, this has been Marc T. May, and you've been listening to Kickstart Your Life.